You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
The wiggles now.
Hello! This is the Slow Ride Podcast.
Okay, that was too loud. Do it again. Do it again with like 3/4 that volume. You just like exploded all our speakers.
Okay. Welcome to the Slow Ride Podcast.
Hello. This is the Slow Ride Podcast, a show about bikes, life, and cycling rumors. Or in short, a show focused on cycling Twitter. My name is Tim, and I'm in Gainesville, Florida.
My name is Matt, and I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I got the wiggles. Spencer?
Spencer. That's me. That's me. Okay, I'm on. Guys. Okay, hang on.
Spencer's always a little behind us.
This is Spencer. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, where I'm bringing you the most sensual cycling news that there is on the internet.
The creepiest.
How was that?
The creepiest part about that, Spencer, was you actually winked at me when you did that, or maybe it was the little guy. I can't tell, but yeah,
it's hard to know with this 3-screen thing going on here.
So, well, guys,
I mean,
we have a lot of pressure.
Whoever's responsible.
We have a lot of pressure on us. Okay, we had the most listens in Slow Ride podcast history to the Adam Meyerson episode last week, and they're continuing to be downloaded. And now we have all these new people that want to listen to us for, I think, our sage wisdom and what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And, make it through this episode, because next week, our 50th episode, we have an amazing special guest. The one, the only, Mo Bruno Roy. New England cyclocross royalty, national cyclocross royalty, multi-time national champion, is joining us on the podcast. Her first podcast interview since announcing her big retirement. So that's two great interviews going on in 3 episodes. So make it through here, and then next week you're going to be like, wow, that's why I listened to that show.
Yeah, you have to listen to this whole episode to get to the next one, though. That's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah, to really appreciate how much talking the guests do, and that reducing the amount of talking that we do, like you're not going to really understand the volume. I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
This is what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
though. This is what I mean.
So
the gravity of this situation.
listen to all the way to the end, and then you'll get the special code that allows you to listen to the Mo Bruno Roy episode.
Oh,
Yeah. But you got to
right.
get...
It's like the golden
we gotta
ticket.
get all their addresses for the decoder ring, though, too.
Yes.
this is like Zelda. You need to
It's going to be
solve the
complicated.
puzzle.
So,
Yeah.
as always, you can find us on Twitter at the Slow Ride Pod. We can also be reached on iTunes, Stitcher, and you can email us theslowridepodcast@gmail.com. So, guys, this past weekend was my favorite bike race of the year.
Oh, do tell. What was it?
Milan San-Remo. And
Oh.
the reason it's so awesome is that there's always crappy weather at the start, and then it always gets better when they start going down the coast and they go over the Cipressa and then the Poggio. And oh man, the descent to the
Nailed it.
Poggio is my favorite thing in cycling, because with Milan San-Remo there's always that, will a breakaway make it? Will it be a bunch sprint? Will the favorite sprinters make it over the last climb? And it, more often than not, it's a sprint. But every now and then, Fabian Cancellara comes out and just wins. It's great.
Once.
Mm.
Yeah. Once he
Yeah,
won.
once.
Yeah, it was a good addition, I thought. What impressed you guys about it? I thought I was on the edge of my seat, the same seat I'm on right now, the whole time. I really liked it, and I generally don't like these classics that go to the sprinters, but I thought this one was good. It was riveting stuff.
Well, my favorite part about this race this year was that I actually finagled a crystal clear, ad-free pirate feed. So I was able to watch the race, and I never had to relog out. I never had to do like my voodoo tricks.
I didn't either.
I didn't have to do my voodoo tricks to make it worse.
Eurosport?
I went to Steep Hill, and I clicked on link 1 for Eurosport, and it was great.
Ooh.
Steep Hill, it's a little secret.
Yeah.
Everyone else goes to cycling fans, and Steep Hill, that's the indie rock of pirate.
Do you want to
cycling
know
feeds.
something, Tim?
Yeah.
I went to Cycling Fans and I clicked on the first Eurosport, and I also had complete uninterrupted feed of Eurosport the whole time. So I think maybe just the Eurosport feed was just really primo Russian pirated stuff.
Is there anything better than finding that crystal clear illegal pirate feed for a race? So with the racing, the actual exciting part to me was when the crash happened with the Sky Riders, and then there was this weird moment of, are the three Sky guys going to try to get across to the leaders? And really made the racing exciting. And then Geraint Thomas, of course, attacks out of what became the lead group and ended up getting 20 seconds on the lead. And then you had the Poggio. So much awesome.
It was pretty good. Thomas going on the attack with Oss was exciting. I don't think the attacks on the Poggio were super exciting, but gotta give my hat off to Luca Polini for being the ultimate teammate. He did so much work for Christoph and came within an inch of setting him up for a second victory in a row. So,
well, I think that's the reason why none of the attacks on the Poggio really mattered, right?
Yeah,
because Paolini was putting in so much work at the top there. I mean, he almost made the Poggio boring because of there wasn't an attack going because his tempo was so high, and I think that was pretty awesome. My favorite part every year of Milan San-Remo, well, one of my favorite parts, there's so many favorite parts, is when the motorbike at the back, as they're like fading off of like the sprinters that are then getting dropped. So it's like, oh, there goes Buhani, or whatever. And it was great.
There's always some good shots of Cavendish and Christoph and all the other sprinters kind of lumped together at the back, all eyeing each other. Nobody wants to put in even that like ounce extra of effort to get over the climb one position farther up than they have to,
Yeah. Well, am I the only one that when I see Paolini driving on the front of the peloton, I'm just like disappointed every single time I see him and he's not wearing the clown nose? Like, because that's all I can think about. It's all I can think about. I don't know.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
The beard makes up for it. Although that arrow helmet that he has on, that's always cockeyed.
It's just perfect with the clown nose. They go hand in hand. I was secretly also hoping for the winner of that race to not be wearing an arrow helmet, and unfortunately, the Giant Alpaca team is on arrow helmets there. But
it's a little shameful. Like since they're Alpecin is their sponsor, that they're wearing an arrow helmet so you can't even see any of their hair. You think that they would try to get to like the hairnet of all things, so like the hair could come out.
Well, it is the greatest cycling sponsorship of all time with Marcel Kittel just being famous for the hair. It's such a good move. They got in. They made a smart move there, those guys.
Well, and then of course race winner John Degenkolb has that awesome mustache. So, maybe he's adding a little caffeine shampoo to get that
creepy, awesome, whatever you want to call it.
A little similar to when you have a mustache, Tim. It's definitely on the creepy side of the scale.
That's why you like it, yeah.
So a couple of other notes that we've been bouncing across the three of us on email. Spencer, Little Guy and I were both sure that you got very excited for that brief moment when Pippo was on the front. This like that little bit of time when like maybe Pippo was gonna win.
I was honestly thought the commentators were wrong. Like when they said he was on the front, I was like, oh, they must just think that's the go-to Lamprey guy, So
yeah.
But it was, and I was pretty excited. But he was on the front way too early, even for Pippo ego standards. But
no, did you see where he finished?
No.
Because I don't know where he finished, but I think there's two other Lamprey riders in the top 10, but no Pippo. I think someone is no longer the team leader, is the feeling.
So here's the thing with Pippo, though. The best thing was when he was on the front, cycling Twitter blew up, and then one of my favorite images of Pippo in the World Championship jersey, but then instead of like right there in the circle where they have like the cyclocross guy or the time champion the time trial champion right in the middle of the stripes. Mm-hmm. It was like all the social media icons. So it's like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So he's the world champion of interneting. And it was like, oh man. So everyone wanted him. Another thing that stuck out to us, Little Guy, was Cancellara.
Yeah. Podium.
off the podium and almost not even visible the entire race.
Well, I think that's a good thing, though. That's the way you need to ride this race. I mean, look at all the guys. Look at everyone at the front. Invisible. John, our buddy John. We know John. Invisible. Didn't see him the whole race. Didn't hear his name the whole race.
Yep.
Boom.
I mean, really cool stuff there. And I think that the Cancellara is really good at being invisible. It's what is it? His first time that he hasn't been on a podium in years in a monument.
In like 12, I think 12 monuments that he's ridden or something like that. That's pretty impressive.
And he still got 7th.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. Oh man, the Poggio descent. The Poggio descent is so chaotic. Can you imagine me trying to ride my bike down that descent? You guys would be down at the bottom of it for like a good 15 minutes as I'm coming around a tripod on every corner.
We'd be at a cafe. Have our drinks.
Those little stone walls that those guys could just easily go off. And then my favorite part of the driveways that are up there, I would be afraid just backing out of my driveway in a car going down that thing.
I don't think you back out if you live on that road. I think that is a bad idea. I think you come out, you come in, you have like a little turnaround or something in your garage or driveway, because I don't think you back out on that road. Oh, and then of course, what most people want to talk about when they think of Milan San-Remo, they think about, everyone talks about first place, but we're doing our part to make 16th place the most important finish of any major race. And we had almost 70 entries in our hashtag 16th place contest. We had all over the board. Lars Boom was the most popular pick with 6 people choosing Lars Boom. We had multiple people choosing Heinrich Hausler. Good pick,
lots
Barbie.
Lots of people picking Pozzato. We had a lot of who's the other big one? Sylvain Chavanel, Johan Ofredo. Everyone following Little Guy's lead there.
I wanted it.
And,
Little Guy's lead.
I picked him.
Man,
Did you pick him for 16?
And then
I picked him ahead Vogue, and you just jumped on my train.
It's a totally different thing.
And let's not forget about Edvald Boasson-Hagen. Had a lot of picks as well.
Hogan, it's like the biscuits. You say it like the biscuits.
And here's the issue, is that I was a little worried when we were going through the results and no one had these, but we had someone nail it. 16th place was actually correctly picked. And we even had 2 people choose 15th place, Tim Wellens. So not only did the 15th place guy easily could have sat up and won some awesome Buckler embrocation, Buckler skincare products, but no, he had to go for 15th place. And then, of course, we had Baron von Giesen on Twitter, who chose Grega Bolle of CCC Polsat. What an awesome thing. And, for that, Baron von Giesen gets a nice Buckler skincare prize pack. What else could be better?
Baron's probably already have everything they need. Can't believe he has to have more.
So now that listeners of the podcast and friends of ours on Twitter are actually choosing their pick for 16th place, and it's become the 4th most important position at the finish of all these major races. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 16th. It's like a super wide podium, and now these racers are actually doing all they can to get 16th place. It's the best thing ever.
A weird lopsided podium, but
it is.
Yeah, just skip a whole bunch in the middle there, but it is pretty important, and we do have some confirmation from the actual European peloton that they are starting to care about our contest here. We have riders from Europcar and Top Sport choosing their predictions for 16th place. All of them chose Pippo Pozzato,
which was a little strange. Yes.
But the biggest name we had actually tweeting at us was former Paris-Roubaix 4th place finisher Gregory Rask from Trek Factory Racing. Tweeting at us saying he tried for 16th, he couldn't get it. When he realized he couldn't do it, he went for 61st, and that's where he finished. Kind of reversing the numbers there. So
what a great palindrome!
Shows some clever racing there from the big man from Switzerland.
And 16th place was nailed, as we mentioned earlier. And Grega Bolle,
first time in history we've had one of our listeners nail it exactly.
He even
First time in history.
He even favorited our congratulatory tweet. Now, he may not have understood what was going on there, but man,
sure he knows.
Yeah, he probably did. So little
speaks
guy,
a little English, maybe. Yeah.
Little guy, did you do a little bit of history on this ex-Astana man that is now racing for Triple C Polsat with my buddy David Rabelin?
Rebelin, my buddy. Don't you try to take Rebelin from me. You can have Schumacher. No, but I remember a couple years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, where he was on Astana and he won the national championship and they gave him the wrong kit. Astana just kind of like whatever, you know.
What country is he from, little guy?
I don't know what country he's from. I wanted to say Slovakia, and now I sound like Astana, and now I'm part of the problem.
He's Slovenia.
He's Slovenian, so they gave him like the wrong kit. Inner-Ring did a good thing on it. Go search the Inner-Ring and find it, because I obviously can't tell you anything about it. But anyway, at least his employer, the team he races for, should know what country he's from. I'm not under quite the same obligation, maybe.
I mean, we are known as the most trusted news source.
So what team was this little guy?
I thought it was when he was on Astana. It was Lamprey.
I don't see him on Astana here on the list.
My story's falling apart.
He was on Lamprey, then Vacant Soleil, and then the Vini Fantini Nippo.
Hey guys,
what I'm talking about.
Guys, don't worry. No one's listening to this podcast for actual news, except Adam Meyerson, who was on last week and said he actually learned stuff on our podcast. So who knows?
I'll find the Inner-Ring article, because that guy, he has facts. He gets all the facts right. And I'll just link to that.
We just interpret those facts and spit them back out as kind of hyperbole.
Yeah, like 2 years later with all the wrong bits and bops.
So
perfect.
So for those of you that are listening and you want to partake in the next 16th place contest, we have a great prize pack coming to us. We'll announce it next week on the Mo Bruno Roy special episode, who that prize pack sponsor is, but it's definitely going to be something that you want to participate in. And because of that, you know, it's going to be at Tour de Flanders, the next big monument of cycling. Now, there's some racing going on before then, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we really want to thank Buckler Skincare for sponsoring the 16th place contest, and then also sponsoring the podcast all the way through the month of April. Buckler Skincare makes fantastic chamois cream. They make great embrocation, and they make Spencer's favorite leg gloss, so he can be like Pippo Pozzato with the shiny legs.
Well, Pippo Pozzato can be like me.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
what place did he get? Maybe he's already doing an impersonation of you.
He was.
If he finished, he's doing a little bit better job.
And
he's joking. 41st. He got 41st.
So there's Buckler Skincare products. You go to bucklerskincare.com. You can choose between it. My favorite is the chamois cream. It's fantastic. It's got that nice menthol flavor, if you will. And the embrocation is also great if you live everywhere except Florida.
Well, Tim, when I got mine, I got the non-warming Embro just for the leg sheen and a little bit of blood flow. You know, it's good stuff. I mean, you should consider that.
A little bit of blood flow.
Explore your options. But yeah, so
flow?
With the embrocation, come on. Anyway, the point of the story is if you go to bucklerskincare.com, you look through what they have for options, fill up your basket, hit checkout, but before you do, put in Slow Ride in the coupon code, and you're going to get a nice fat discount, and we're going to get a very small kickback from that. I'm not going to lie to you. We get a small kickback, and it's the only kickback we've ever gotten in our entire career as podcasters, so we're super excited about it. It helps us do our thing.
I'm pretty sure this makes us pro. Almost like pro bike racers, the amount of money we're getting out of this.
Elite Cat 3 podcasting
So-
right here. You can make our dream real.
I'm gonna do a shitty one first, and I'll work up to it. This is Eric Saunders. You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Ain't no rookies in here.
Next week, once again, Mo Bruno Roy is coming on for episode 50. We're really excited about that. But guys, let's talk briefly kind of this potpourri section. Racing is still happening in the professional peloton. It didn't happen here in the United States because the first National Criterium Calendar race was canceled down in Tampa. But we do have the Volta Cataluna going on. And pretty exciting thing. The real hard man won that one, little guy.
Yeah, he raced to 22nd yesterday from CCC Sprandi. Oh,
Wait, what do you mean yesterday? What was yesterday?
Yesterday, okay. Milan San-Remo.
Oh, so he raced Milan San-Remo.
Raced Milan San-Remo.
7.5 hours.
At 22nd place, finished in the first group, right behind love of my life, Michele Scarponi. Makazi Paderski. Man, I messed that up. He's Polish. He's on CCC Sprati. And he won today. Won the first stage in the break all day with de Klerk and Pierre Roland. And he took it in the sprint, took the leader's jersey, and that's some serious business, man.
So what are the odds that he's going to finish?
So,
I mean, what's the odds that he can hold onto the jersey? It makes it a great race, though.
In a 24-hour period, how many hours was he on his bike? That's insane.
I don't know how long today in Kaluni, but it was like almost 7 yesterday, so probably about 12 hours. It had to
be like 4 hours. Yeah,
4 or 5 hours.
Jesus. He could use. That's a man we should send some buckler skins.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
But that's amazing. He's got a win and a 20 and a finishing in the first group, 22nd in a monument in one day. That's a good 24-hour span.
That is pretty good.
Oh man, that's some alien-like powers right there. That is really, really good.
Extraterrestrial, you might say.
Gilberto Simoni.
Now we're starting to throw a little. Now we're getting a little accusation.
We are getting a little. We're getting into the weeds.
We don't know who his roommate is. We don't know who his roommate is.
Hey, either way, I give this guy credit. This is awesome. This is good.
He had a great ride, and he's got the leader's jersey, and I'm just excited because I wasn't looking forward to another short stage race where I had to look at Froome or Contador or any of the favorites. I'm interested in them throwing a wrench in it and having these other guys go in the break, get a bunch of time. They got a couple minutes on the pre-race favorites. It's going to make for an interesting week of racing. Wow.
Okay, little guy's having a stroke, so maybe Tim, you want to jump in here?
He did have a head. Well, he did have a head. He did have a head injury last week. So this gets us to our. Let's get to this next thing. And then E3 is next weekend. Friday. The big racing in the United States coming up is the Sonny King Criterium in Anniston, Alabama. So that will be the start of the NCC. It is fairly prestigious because it actually happens. Race promoters are not putting it on and then canceling. One of my biggest frustrations lately is race promoters that announce a race and then don't put it on and get it on the calendar. So people actually put a lot of effort to get there, obviously Tampa being the most recent. But we have our own experience of wanting to put on events, but we just call them Event X and never even put them on the calendar. So when they were canceled, people didn't even know about it.
True.
So why do these races because, there was the UCI road race they were going to put on in Portland, Oregon this past year. And then they announced that got canceled because we didn't have a sponsor. Well, it's like, why'd you put it on the calendar if you didn't have a sponsor?
Yeah, this is some pretty amateur level Minnesota cycling racing style. You know, I need to reserve this date so nobody else takes it, but I'm not sure if I can actually pull this off.
You got to get the date, man. You got to get the date.
You kind of expect at the national level that kind of drops off, but apparently not. I don't know.
Not at all. Speaking of that, I haven't looked at the MCF calendar in about a month. I'm pretty sure the season's probably been canceled. I should probably take a peek at that. And just
you're probably in better shape than Boston because, Jesus Christ, everything's getting canceled here. There's still 8 feet of snow on the roads.
Well, little guy, you brought up your or I brought up how you asked Adam Meyerson for training for the upcoming Minnesota cycling season. We got a nice iTunes review from @IronChef Minneapolis, and he said, "The Citizen Kane of amateur cycling podcasts. Culture, history, and sabermetric-esque analysis of 16th place. Loved little guy's interval questions from Adam Meyerson." Well, so that was a nice, So you got to keep that up. Your season is right around the corner. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled. Some other things that actually came up that we wanted to talk about this week is watching Milan San-Remo. You always get to see the full fashion statements, the crappy weather, see who's wearing what, and the raincoats.
Yeah.
The rain jackets.
Yeah. What's up with that? There's a rule that they have to either look like the team kit or be see-through.
Wait.
And then every year they're all black. It's terrible.
Are you sure that's the rule? Is the rule not they have to wear a Castelli jacket that's black?
That's not the rule. You would think that is the rule, but it's not.
You know,
I
there are a
watching
few
this,
teams.
I couldn't believe it.
There are a few teams that have actually branded their raincoats because they have sponsors that want to be seen. The Movie Star team is one. Like, they're wearing a full raincoat with their logos all over it. So you would think that other teams would do this.
But so there's only one problem with that is that they're already black basically, and so they have a properly branded coat, and if nobody else does, everybody else just wears black, and then it's just black. The
MTN Quebec team pulled out the silver ones, and they silk screened a little tiny logo on the breast, which I don't see how that really helped anybody. But it's not see through. But at least it wasn't black.
One, I don't understand why the UCI can't enforce this, and two, I don't understand why the teams don't want to have a jacket that. I think
we all
sponsor.
know. I think we can answer this really easily. Knowing what I would never, accuse the UCI of any sort of illicit activity, but potentially maybe some large checks have been written, some donations have been made in Castelli's name to some sort of foundation somewhere. A
centrifuge machine
where they look the other way.
They are known for ethics, and. So there's the raincoats, which I don't get. I mean, we all agree. It's just hard to watch, but you're like, at least put the logos on so you can kind of tell. But let's talk about the other rule that they're actually enforcing this year, which is kind of disappointing. It's my favorite part of watching the Tour de France, and it's the old derailleur adjustment at 40 miles an hour going down the side of a mountain when a mechanic has his fingers and his nose inches away from getting chopped off in the rear wheel as they're doing, the old mechanic hanging out the window trick.
Yeah, it's sad that one's gone, but it does make sense. It never seemed like a really good, safe move, but it was the fastest way to make it back after mechanical was to have your rear brake worked on. And I've never
rear
understood
brakes are always rubbing.
They're always rubbing, and I've never had that problem. But maybe that's a pro thing.
So you remember, you can harken back to episode 35 when we talked to Matt Roy, and he did say that those brakes are always rubbing, and you do need to be leaning out, taking care of that whenever, after wheel changes, those brakes just get out of alignment.
It's weird because you'd think because they have all the same wheels, it's not like so I understand why my rear wheel rubs when I get a flat at a cross race, and I switch from a GP4 to an Open Pro. Different width rims, different decades,
different levels of out of trueness.
Yeah, exactly. I understand why then I have to loosen the brake a little bit and work with the adjuster there. But if you have all the same wheels and they're hypothetically true, it just seems weird to me. I've haven't touched my rear brake on my road bike for like 5 years. It's I'm pretty sure they've made brakes simple enough that you can adjust them yourself while you're riding, just so they won't rub. Unless you're pro. Maybe all the pros are like you, Tim. They've never worked on their bike in their life.
Well, I think what it comes down to is that everything's getting more technical. Everything's getting more complicated. The electronic shifting, the disc brakes are starting to come into the scene here. Everything. There's all kinds of technology the UCI just doesn't understand, and they need to, just back off. They just need to nip it in the bud. Before people start putting motors in their bikes.
Well, yeah, they might start just putting the mechanical lean out. He'll put the motor in. He'll put a chip in and chip it, boost the turbo a little bit. Maybe, kind of up the injection timing a little bit.
Well, I think that's
not cool.
How many bikes did they check?
They grabbed right after the finish line about 20 to 30 bikes. I heard they grabbed 11 of the Trek team bikes, and then about the same amount from Specialized bikes. I assume.
Wait,
Quick
they
Steps.
grabbed 11, so they grabbed all the bikes that were actually being ridden, and then a bunch off the team car too. So in case they changed them. Oh wow.
So they grab Quick Step, they grab Tinkoff. So
Yep.
I mean, it's exciting that they're checking, and that's like what we.
But
So that
but,
means
like,
that there's
all
actually the
things they
technology.
could be- all the things they could be checking in cycling, that's what they're checking. It's,
Well,
I'm
they're
really
probably-
worried about it.
They're probably
they're
doing like
super
what the.
concerned.
It's probably like what, remember the Minneapolis cops every spring, and they used to crack down on people riding Nicollet Mall for like 24 hours. Like it was like a
Mhm.
1-day sweep, and everyone got a
Yep.
ticket unless you had the awesome messenger pass. And then what you would do is 2 days later, everyone was back out there, but they kind of just did it so like, oh look, we're X-raying bikes, so now people aren't going to bring this bike. But the question is, does
So
this
you're gonna
technology?
Are we scaring the pro cyclists away from using the
illegal
motors and
means?
bikes that they've been using for so long? Is that what we're trying to say?
I
Do you
think
they're
what we're
looking for the
doing.
motors or the
I
ice
feel
cubes?
like I feel like this is a European thing because e-bikes are really popular over there, and like on the commuter bikes and all that. But like, and I could see where the UCI can pick up on this and like read it in the newspaper. Oh, e-bikes are kind of popular. But I feel like they've never actually went and looked at one and seen how ginormous those batteries are, and like how much more they weigh, and that it would be completely insane to put that in a bicycle.
What are those putting out though? Like even if you had like a little motor in your bike, you got 3 extra watts. 3 extra watts on a climb. You know how much Contador weighs, and you know that you weigh exactly the same amount.
All you need is a little rub and back brake, and you're good to go.
Well, see, the most important thing here, Spencer, is you're absolutely right, is that battery is really big. Have you noticed that these guys are wearing black raincoats all the time so that you can't see what's in their rear pockets?
Yeah. It's like that time with
Bananas.
the debate where Bush had the weird bump in his back because he had the radio on him or whatever, and they're controlling him from the tower. Oh, news desk. Breaking news, Bjarne Riis has been suspended by Oleg Tinkov. Surprising move from the Russian oligarch. Wow, guys,
Surprising.
that was crazy.
Whoa, that is
that was
shocking
news-
news, breaking news there.
Shocking
Wow.
news.
The news desk is it really that shocking, though?
No, Tinkov seems like a terrible person. And so is Bjarne Riis. So, together. No, I'm not surprised, but I also think that Tinkov, he's just trying to make his team worse and worse incrementally, and he's just going to fire everybody and get mad at everybody. He called out Breschel. What did Breschel get, like 12th place? Yeah, what an idiot. That guy's a moron.
So here's the thing with Tinkov. He's making cycling exciting because he's practically going bankrupt because he's lost billions of dollars with this.
Well, that's Putin's fault. That's not his fault. That's Putin's fault.
Okay, thank you. And then he's got, I hope that he is soon the one behind the wheel in the lead car at the Tour de France. Like, I want him to become the coach. That would be the greatest thing ever. Like, if he was out there and he's like, attack all the time, and there was just no rhyme or reason. Mr. 60%, Bjarne Riis, knew his stuff.
Yeah.
And then did you see that one of the major disagreements was that Bjarne Riis wanted them all to go to Kilimanjaro to do the team building exercise? And Tinkoff wasn't into it.
Well, that cost a lot of money, I'm sure, and that was right as the ruble was tanking, so I'm sure he wasn't super pumped about that. But he's not going to make the team better by firing people that know things about cycling and just yelling at everybody.
Is Tinkoff, is he the Donald Trump, and Saxo Cycling is his presidential election? Is that what's going on here?
I guess so.
Maybe. I was thinking I like the more when someone said he's the George Steinbrenner of cycling, just basically firing everybody and getting involved. But I see where you're going. He is kind of way too involved, and that's what's great. But I always forget about Tinkoff's first attempt to be the professional cycling team owner.
How do you forget?
When he signed Tyler Hamilton.
Tyler Hamilton. You don't forget. Don't try to be modest. You probably think about that every night.
But like seriously, that was that was the writing on the wall that he's always wanted to be the guy. Like he always wanted to be the guy pulling the strings. And now he's got Contador, he's got old Birdie, and he's got Peter Sagan. The way he's thinking is like these are the two guys, and we're going to do all it can. Think of the pressure. Are we really going to be surprised if one of those guys gets popped? I mean, the pressure that he must be putting on this team is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not going to do anything good for him though. It's not doing anything good for Sagan. I don't know.
Oh, what was up with Sagan? He didn't even like at Milan San-Remo. I thought that he would have like maybe had a chance to win.
Well, he was there.
I
He
mean,
did.
he was there in the
got
sprint. I
fourth,
mean, that's a pretty good chance.
I know.
He's not
I'm
riding
just-
poorly, but he's not riding with that same confidence
Gusto?
that he had a couple years ago.
Yes, Sagan of a couple years ago, he would have kept that attack going from about a K&a-half out that he kind of got off the front, tickled off the front a little bit there.
He should have just put his head
It's
down
sad.
and gone for it. It would have been more exciting.
Yeah, I like seeing him attack with reckless abandon for no reason. You know, like he's getting too smart for his own good and going for like
probably maybe too smart, but probably he was thinking in the back of his mind, he was like, man, Tinkoff's gonna kill me. If I go clear with 2K to go and I get 20th place, he's gonna kill me. So he sat up and he got 4th, and then he could be like, oh man, it's not my fault that Matthews cut me off.
If he would have sat up and got 16th, then Tinkoff would at least have that.
That's true.
Things would have been a little bit better. So
yeah, it's cold in Russia.
one of the things that came across the Twitter feed, you may have noticed, is George Hincapie on a fat bike. That was a little. I don't know if it was disappointing or inspiring. Kind of polar opposites
made sure
there.
the circle wasn't broken. Just kind of it's all come around now. Full circle.
The loyal lieutenant on the fat bike. So maybe
so-
he's gearing up. When's his band done so he can go to fat bike national championships?
Band's done already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that slap on the wrist is over.
I'm wondering because like the other
is on.
the man not to be named, Lance Armstrong, did meet with USADA last week, and
You have to name him right away.
well, you know.
The thing I don't want to say, I'll say it now.
Well, I don't care if I say it. Other people like I hate when people are like, I don't want to talk about Lance Armstrong. It's like, why? That dude ruined cycling. And he's trying to get his ban reduced, and I'm wondering if it is for Fat Bike Nationals. That could be
Probably.
why he's coming back.
I mean, he's probably trolling the internet just like us. You know, he's kind of well known for trolling Twitter and keeping his finger on the pulse. He probably saw Arnold Schwarzenegger on a fat bike. Shortly thereafter, he saw Drake on the fat bike, and then he saw his buddy George on there, and he was like, "Okay, I got to get in on this."
Oh, and then
now
when he saw
he's trying to cash in
Nibali,
the chips. Yeah.
when he saw an actual yellow jersey winner, Nibali, on the fat bike. Yeah. So, and then guys, speaking of fat bikes and their popular podcast, Fat Bike Radio, it was a lot of pride, and we'd like to thank all our listeners for making us, for maybe a 10-hour period, the top of the iTunes amateur podcast charts with that Adam Meyerson one. It was great. We got a screen capture, but now we're back down to number 80. And so it always helps if you subscribe or if you leave us a great review. We got another awesome review this past week from the Horse Shack test. Bike racing, storytelling, complete with victims, villains, and heroes. And that's just the host tales. Also, I thought I knew how to pronounce Sven Tuft's name, but now I'm not so sure after I heard Super Rookie say it his way. And so once again, thanks for, my job is hard, guys. I'm getting, lots of people want me to say words that I'm not very good at it.
Lots of people want me to say words. I just cut that out and have that.
So a lot of people come to our expert
Several
opinions.
dozen people.
Yeah, so
Okay.
several dozen people come for our expert opinions, and I think we should just do a quick hot take on this recent controversy that developed down here in Florida when Adam Meyerson's Astellas Pro Cycling team was in the Tampa area. Of course, that crit got canceled, so they went to the local crit the following day on Sunday, and Meyerson's team brought 12 guys, and they did not win.
What?
And the winner was a recently reinstated racer out of Miami that had to serve a 2-year ban for some kind of doping violation. He won. And, of course, people were like, hey, congratulating this amateur for beating a pro team senseless. And
Senseless.
is there any way a pro team can win with 12 guys at a local crit like that? Or are they expected to win and just to destroy everybody?
I think they're expected to win, and then everyone will be mad. And then if they lose, everyone will be an asshole. And then it's perfect, no matter what, obviously.
So it's a
Well-
sweet catch-22.
It is.
They should
yeah.
have taken spots 1 through 12 is what they really should have done, right?
Well,
And they probably
they're
could
pro,
have. That's
so they're Magic, right? They could do that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bummer because
everyone's
they're not
response.
pro anymore because they got beat by non-pros, so they had to give in their pro licenses, right? Isn't that how it works?
yes. Thank you for listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Once again, a quick, friendly reminder. Listen next week because we're going to have U.S. cyclocross royalty, Mo Bruno Roy, one of the most successful racers in U.S. cyclocross history, is going to be joining us, talking about retirement, what's next for her. That will be also our 50th episode. We'll also announce our next sponsor for the 16th place contest that will be at the Tour de Flanders. And as always, you can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. Just search Slow Ride, leave us a review. Tweet us at the Slow Ride Pod, and you can email us at the Slow Ride Podcast at gmail.com. I can be found personally on Twitter at the Super Rookie.
I can be found. I'm Matt at Little Guy Matt on Twitter.
And I can be found at Spencer Howe, Haugh, on Twitter.
And thanks for listening.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well done. Thanks, Spencer.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.